Good morning. Today's session would be about the chloroplast. We will start with activity 3 in chapter 1. And we are going to see where does photosynthesis occur in green plants. First you have to know that photosynthesis occurs in the green parts of the plant. We are going to see a figure in the next slide, and we are going to answer the following questions. The first question is, what is the green color of the plant due to? So we have to see what gives the plant its green color. Then, we are going to see what is the role of this green pigment. And, by pigment, I mean a molecule having a color. The last question is, where is this pigment located within the cell? So, we want to know where is this green substance located within the plant cell, that is in which part. Most plants have green leaves, and this green color is due to the presence of a green pigment known as chlorophyll. So what is the role of chlorophyll? Actually, this green pigment plays an important role in photosynthesis. It is responsible for absorbing sunlight to be used as a source of energy for synthesizing the carbohydrate molecules by photosynthesis. Now, let us see where these green molecules are found. We are going to examine a green leaf under the microscope, and take a close look at the magnified photosynthetic cells, which contain chlorophyll. Of course, a chlorophillic cell or a photosynthetic cell, that is a cell that can undergo photosynthesis, has the same cellular components as that of any plant cell, but in addition, it contains a special organelle known as chloroplast. To get into more details, we are going to look at the different parts of the chlorophillic cell shown in the figure. You can clearly see that a plant cell has, in addition to the plasma membrane, a cell wall, which is formed of cellulose. These two structures are cellular membranes that act as boundaries, separating the inner side of the cell from the outer surrounding. Of course, within the cell, you have the cytoplasm, which is the fluid containing the different organelles. And by organelles, I mean the different structures found within the cell, such as the nucleus, the vacuole, which is a very large organelle occupying large volume. And then you have these small circular structures. They are numerous in number, that is, you have more than one. These organelles are the chloroplasts. They contain chlorophyll. So, if you take a look at this adjacent photo, you will be able to see the chloroplasts having green color. In fact, this is due to the presence of chlorophyll within these organelles. Now, we are going to see a video showing the different organelles within a plant cell, just to make things clearer. Enjoy.
A plant cell, similarly to an animal cell, contains a cell nucleus, in which genetic material is stored in the form of DNA. The cytoplasm is a liquid suspension filling the cell, which contains various organelles. One of them is the endoplasmic reticulum. It has the shape of a labyrinth surrounding the nucleus. One part of the ER is called rough, and the other smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The Golgi body is the cell repository. The substances produced in it are stored there and then transported to other parts of the cell. Among the more complex organelles are the mitochondria, in which cellular respiration takes place. Their number, size and shape vary depending on the cell type. Each plant cell is surrounded by a cell membrane. It acts as a barrier separating the cell from the external environment. A plant cell also has a number of unique features. The cell wall, which is composed of multiple cellulose layers, is a characteristic feature of a plant cell. Its rigid structure serves as a frame that gives the cell a regular shape. The cell wall protects the cell against water loss, while allowing the flow of various substances from and into the cell. The plant cell can use solar energy as fuel for the production of the organic compounds it needs. This is possible through chloroplasts found in the cell, which are also known as green bodies. These organelles contain chlorophyll, the green pigment enabling the conversion of solar energy into the energy of chemical bonds. Large vacuoles, whose surface often occupies almost the entire cell, are another unique feature of plant cells. Vacuoles can be likened to huge tanks filled with cell sap, containing mainly water and spare substances. These elements of the plant cell closely cooperate together, ensuring the proper functioning of the cell. They are found in all plant cells, irrespective of the type of plant.
Okay, now, I have previously told you that the presence of chlorophyll is indispensable for the occurrence of photosynthesis in green plants. And, in order to prove that what I'm telling you is true, we are going to see this video, which includes an experiment proving that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis.
To show that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. Process. Pluck a coleus leaf from plant. Coleus leaf contains both green and non-green areas. Transfer the leaf on a white sheet of paper and draw its outline. Mark the green and non-green areas carefully on it. Now boil this leaf in water to kill it. After boiling in water, again boil it in alcohol. The purpose of boiling leaf in alcohol is that it dissolves greenish part, that is, chlorophyll. Then wash the leaf in cold water and place it in a watch glass. Now pour some drops of iodine solution over it. Compare the leaf with the drawing you had made. Observation. Only those areas of the leaf become blue which were marked as green. Conclusion. This shows that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis.
Now let me ask you some questions to make sure that you have acquired all the needed information. First question. What is the green color of the plant leaves due to? Second question. What is the role of chlorophyll? The last question. Where is chlorophyll found within the cell? Of course, you have to know that not all plant cells undergo photosynthesis. And what I mean by that is, within the same plant there are chlorophyllic cells that can undergo photosynthesis to synthesize starch, but there are also non-chlorophyllic cells. In other words, these non-chlorophyllic cells cannot undergo photosynthesis, that is, they cannot synthesize organic substances from inorganic ones. In this figure, you can see the chlorophyllic cells, as well as the non-chlorophyllic cells, and in this case, I am showing you specific type of non-chlorophyllic cells, which are the epidermal cells. These epidermal cells form the outer layer of the leaf. But there is one example of a plant whose leaves consist of one single layer of chlorophyllic cells, meaning that the leaves of this plant contain only chlorophyllic cells, and this plant is the moss plant. Now let us take a closer look under the microscope on two different types of cells. You have in document A, one chlorophyllic cell, and in document B, one epidermal cell. Now I want you to compare the structures of these two cells in order to see the similarities as well as the differences. Close the video and try to answer this question. I will correct your answer in the next slide. Please correct your answers. You have seen that in both cells, there is cell wall, cytoplasm, nucleus and one large vacuole. But the difference was, the presence and absence of chloroplasts. You can see that chloroplasts were only present in the chlorophillic cell but absent in the non-chlorophillic cell. Of course your answer should include the similarities followed by the differences. We have seen the different organelles found within a chlorophillic cell, and, I have said earlier that chlorophyll is found within the chloroplast. And I have also told you that chlorophyll pigments are essential for photosynthesis. Now, we want to see where the process of photosynthesis takes place, that is in which plant organelle. So, a photosynthetic green algae was placed in conditions that favor photosynthesis and then a leaf was taken, and iodine test was performed to detect the presence of starch. The results are given in the figure below. Of course, dark blue color will be only observed in the organelles in which photosynthesis was occurring, because, when photosynthesis starts, starch will be synthesized, and will be first found in the organelles undergoing photosynthesis. Now let us look at the results and determine the site of photosynthesis in a plant cell. You can clearly see in this figure that chloroplasts were the only organelles stained dark blue. Pause the video for a few minutes and try to answer. Before correcting your answers, please note that photosynthesis is a biological process that cannot be directly observed, but we can very easily detect its outcome, which is starch synthesis. So, by looking for starch, we are actually detecting the occurrence of photosynthesis. Now back to your answer, which should be totally based on logical reasoning. It is important to mention that only the chloroplasts were stained, meaning that, all other organelles were not stained with iodine, and you have to say that the plant was kept in conditions favoring photosynthesis because we are studying this process. And then, you have to say what the observed results indicate. Of course, in this case, it indicates the presence of starch in the chloroplasts. Finally, you write your conclusion, which is the answer of the question. In this case, the conclusion would be, chloroplasts are the sites of photosynthesis. The last idea to be covered in this session is that structure of the chloroplast. I will show you a short video. Please be highly attentive.
Chloroplast. Objective: to learn about the structure of chloroplast. Chloroplasts are specialized organelles found in most plant cells. They contain a pigment known as chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is responsible for the plant's green color and ability to absorb energy from sunlight. This energy is used to convert water and atmospheric carbon dioxide into sugars that can be metabolized through the biochemical process of photosynthesis. Chloroplasts are distributed within the cytoplasm of plant cells. In some cells, they are concentrated around the nucleus or just beneath the cell wall. In higher plants, the chloroplasts are biconvex in shape, similar to that of a football. However, in some plants, chloroplasts will occasionally take on other shapes such as filamentous, spheroid, ovoid, or discoid. Chloroplasts measure 2 to 3 microns width and 5 to 10 microns in length. The number of chloroplasts varies from cell to cell and from species to species, but it usually remains constant for a particular plant. Green algae typically have a single, large chloroplast, while the cells of higher plants have anywhere between 2 and 40 chloroplasts. The chloroplast is enclosed in a double membrane the inner and outer phospholipid. Between these two layers is the intermembrane space. Inside this inner membrane is a matrix of enzymes and water known as stroma. Inside the stroma, there are membranes folded into discs called thylakoids, which are arranged in stacks called grana. Two adjacent grana are joined to one another by lamellae called intergranal lamellae or stroma lamellae. On the surface of the thylakoids, molecules of green pigment called chlorophyll are present. Summary: chloroplasts are cell organelles present only in plants. They contain the green pigment known as chlorophyll. They are the sites of photosynthesis.
To recapitulate, the chloroplast has two membranes, an outer membrane and an inner membrane. Inside the chloroplast there is fluid known as stroma in which there are green discs known as thylakoids. These green discs contain chlorophyll, and are stacked on top of each other forming the granum, and you can see that these grana are interconnected. Hope you have enjoyed this session. See you next time.